Hey guys, what's up? Dan Slobodin from First Strike Athletics. Today we're going to be talking about stretching and flexibility and how we can use it to improve our kicking. So this is actually one of those things I get asked a lot. A lot of people have difficulties with their kicking ability, either tight hips, tight hamstrings, tight lower back. And this was a specific request from one of the viewers. His name is Ogre914, some numbers after, sorry, I can't remember the numbers. But as always, if you have any questions, please put them down in the comments. I'm always happy to answer them as best as I can, whether it's in the comments or like this where I make a video for you. All right, so we're going to be talking, like I said, flexibility, stretching. What should we be doing to help with our kicking? There's a lot to get into. I'm going to just address two main ones. We're going to be talking about static stretching, and we're going to be talking about dynamic stretching. Static stretching is essentially when you're holding your arm or your leg or whatever limb, and you're going to be stretching it and holding it in one spot, where dynamic stretching is moving through a range of motion. Dynamic stretching is what I prefer to use at the beginning of my workouts, and I'm using static stretching at the end or throughout my day. The reason for this is because static stretching, if you do it before your workout, actually has a negative impact on your force production. What that means is if you do a lot of static stretching right before you lift weights or right before you're doing dynamic exercise like Muay Thai and kickboxing, it can actually reduce your ability to develop power. There's a really good article by the NSCA, that is the National Strength and Conditioning Association. Probably one of the best resources for this type of thing. And I'll link it below so you can read it for yourself. There's a whole bunch of studies out there showing the negative impact of static stretching before. So we're gonna do some dynamic stretching that you can use before your workouts, and then I'll show you some static stretching which you can do at the end. They're both good. You should definitely use them both, but dynamic first. All right, so the first stretch we're gonna be doing for our kicks has nothing to do with our legs. It's actually gonna be for our arms. We're gonna be going one arm forward and one arm backwards. So this is a dynamic stretch to help loosen up the shoulders. Now you might be wondering why I'm showing this for a kicking stretch video. This is actually the motion that we use while we're throwing our round kicks. I have my class do this all the time. So do a bunch of these, maybe 10 to 12, and then go the other way. Now for some people it's a little confusing, so you can start just as if you were running, one arm forward, one arm back, and then just kind of have them keep going a little bit more, and then just kind of follow through from there. Another way to do it is just to get one arm going forwards, and then as this one's coming down, I'm gonna clap like that. So when I'm doing round kicks, whether I'm hitting pads or just practicing or shadow boxing, that's exactly what I'm doing. One arm will be swinging backwards and one arm will be coming up towards my head. Boom, here. If I'm throwing my left kick, my right hand's coming up and back towards my head while my left arm swings back or up here. All right, so another one we can use is getting our feet nice and wide, toes slightly out. I'm gonna bend one knee while the other one stays straight. I'm gonna be stretching my adductor muscle here, and as I do that, I'm gonna rotate my left hand towards my right ankle. My other hand's gonna come up towards the ceiling, and I'm gonna go back the other way, so I'm gonna be one side to side. This will help stretch out the adductors, the inside of your thighs, while also getting what we call thoracic rotation, so that ability to rotate my shoulders. Again, this is the same thing you're doing when you're throwing punches and throwing round kicks. So again, your whole body is working together for these techniques. Don't think just because you're throwing your leg at something, that's only your legs that are working. Your whole body has to be coordinated to get the most out of your technique. Now, once you've done this one, you can drop down to one side and then just keep your hips nice and low to the ground and go side to side as best as you can. Try to keep your chest up so you're not hunched over like this. You want to keep your posture up because again, when you're throwing round kicks, you want to posture up. You want to keep your back more or less straight. You don't want to be leaning too much to one side. Okay, another dynamic stretch you can do, you can use a heavy bag for this, you can use the wall, anything that you can kind of lean your weight on. You're going to get into one ball of your foot, and the other one's going to go side to side. Start low and slow, do a few like this, and then gradually increase the range of motion. Bring my leg up to the side, and I'm not turning my toes out. I'm keeping them down here so the outside of my ankle is facing the ceiling the whole time. After you've done about 10 or so, you can start going a little higher. A little bit higher, you want to get that full range of motion. So take your time with this one, don't rush through it. Start low and slow and just gradually increase. You can go 20 or 30 reps. And do the same thing on the other side. Now notice too, I'm not just stopping at the end here. I'm bringing it all the way over. I want to stretch the inside of my thigh here, but as I come down, I'm stretching the outside of my glutes here and the side of my hip. I want to get, again, full range of motion, both sides of the muscle. So we'll be warmed up and working through. Now, going the same thing here, keeping my toes up. I'm just be stretching out my hamstring and my glutes, and as my leg comes back, I'm stretching out my hip flexors. Again, low and slow to start, gradually increasing both ways. If I was doing it this way, I want my leg to come all the way back, all the way up. Full range of motion. There's one more you can do here. Ideally, I like this one with a partner because they can hold by my ankle and then gives my foot the ability to rotate over a little bit easier. But if you don't have a partner, something like this is fine. You can use a box, again, edge of your couch, a chair, something like that. What I'm gonna be doing here, starting with my toes up, my knees facing the ceiling, my hands are up high. I'm gonna go on the ball of my foot here and rotate everything over. And especially if you have tight hips, you really wanna focus on getting that hip to go forward. Your hips lead your legs. So if your hips are way back here, your kicks will be shallow and tight. Here and over. Here and over. Okay, again, low and slow to start. As you get better, you can go a little bit faster with it. It's a little bit harder to go faster on one of these. Again, having a partner to hold your ankle is a lot better for this exercise. All right, so that's some of the dynamic stretches I like to use before I start my workouts. Now we're getting some of the static stretches that I like for after my workouts. Just a quick couple of notes before we start, guys. There's two things I want to go over. One is if you're gonna be doing this and you want to get results, you gotta be consistent. When I was super inflexible, and I started actually seeing some improvements, I was doing 2 hours of yoga a week, as well as 3 kickboxing classes, and the first half an hour was just stretching and flexibility stuff. So I was spending about 3 hours a week just working on flexibility, and it still took a few months to notice some results. So if you don't see results right away, don't give up, just be consistent. You might not notice it, but over time, you'll get better and better and better. The second thing I want to address is if you feel tightness in one area, don't just focus on that area. If you feel tightness in your hips, don't just stretch your hips. Same with your hamstrings or your adductors. Everything's connected. Get everything warmed up, get everything moving through a full range of motion, and get everything stronger. Flexibility and strength work together. If one thing's not working well, you're gonna feel it more than just one spot. All right, so I just finished working out. If this was one of my classes, especially after sparring, I have all my students bring their feet together, keep their back straight and breathe in through the nose and out through the mouth. And this is where I have people kind of do a mental review of some of the stuff they were doing in sparring. Maybe they made some mistakes, something that they can review mentally. Also taking notes is a good idea. This is just a way to kind of get the heart rate down for a little bit, get our breath back, breathing in and out. After about 30 seconds of that, we can grab the toes, bring the knees in, bring the elbows into the knees and push those down even more. Try not to hunch your shoulders and your neck. Try and keep your back straight, push your chest forward, and then push down those knees. This is really good for opening up the adductor muscles, right? All your muscles are nice and warm now. You've been training for at least an hour, probably, maybe longer. This is a really good time to get a good stretch in, okay? Next one we do is a pretty straightforward one. Most people have seen this, so I won't spend too much time on it. Legs straight out, same arm forward, grabbing the toes, keeping the knee towards the ground, bringing myself down. You can also do it with both hands if you're able to. Same thing on the other side. Both feet together, same thing, grab the toes, feet open. Everyone knows those ones, so I'm not gonna get into it. The one stretch that I really like that I don't see a lot of people doing is keeping this leg out, bringing this knee up and over to the side, like so. And then I'm gonna take the stretched out leg and bring it up to the opposite hand. I'm trying to keep it flat to the ground. So I don't want it up here, I want it down here to the ground. And this hand is pushing this knee down towards the ground. So now I'm stretching out my hip, my lower back and my glutes on this side. My bottom leg, my right leg, I'm stretching out my hip flexor and my quads. And I'm also getting a nice stretch in my left shoulder. So if I'm in a rush and I don't have a lot of time, this is one of my go-to stretches because I hit so much at once and it feels really, really good. And here's one more for the hips. I actually got this from a Gabriel Vargas seminar recently. Kind of in your typical lunge position. 2 hands to the ground. Now, a lot of people do this stretch where they just kind of reach up and stretch. It's not bad. But Gabriel Varga gave us a really good tip yesterday is when you're here, is to squeeze your glutes on this side. So my right side with the leg that's stretched out, squeeze that and then come up. And that right there, I can already feel my hip stretching up because your glutes and your hips are antagonistic to each other. So if this one's contracted, it will force this one to expand and to stretch. And if you can feel that okay and you want to get a bit more of a stretch, then you can start to reach up. And this is really, really good. It's one of the beautiful things about going to a seminar where you kind of know a lot of the stuff, but you get one extra little tip that makes a big difference. And of course, you do the same thing on the other side. All right, so that's it, folks. Thank you very much for watching. If you liked it, hit like, hit subscribe if you want more videos. And remember, with this type of thing, it takes some time. So be consistent, stay the course. You will get there eventually. Thank you very much for watching. Train smart, train hard, train safe. See you in the next video.